What's happening, everybody? It's a beautiful day here at the at Bomberay Lake. Just ended a day of work, and I am on day 27, I believe it is. And yeah, doing good. Um, Today was interesting. I had a little bit of an odd feeling for just like a 30-minute brief period of some rapid heartbeats. I was getting up and down a lot, so that probably affected it. I also just got done drinking a good amount of water. I think I chugged about 2 cups. So maybe that thinned out my blood with the low blood pressure, getting up and down. I think it just affected me. So I had some rapid heartbeats. I felt a little odd. It wasn't too bad. But I started sweating a little bit, and it kind of worried me. So those are just some things that can happen. So rest, guys. Don't overwork yourself. Don't chug too much water. Don't thin your blood out too much. Drink as you need it. Don't try to drink too much, because later on in a fast, it might not be the best idea. Day 27, about 2 weeks left, and I am ready to be done. Also, I'm having some crazy vivid dreams, like really bright. Not bright as in vivid, but just like really memorable, almost like watching a movie in HD or something, and it's just like, it's insane. So dreams are really strange, because it's kind of different. But I have an interesting topic today, and hopefully it's really, really helpful. It helped me. I mean, this is kind of information that's just in my memory now, so I kind of wrote it all out in the best way I could, and hopefully it helps people. But the topic is what to eliminate from a lifestyle and what to add to a lifestyle before and after a water fast, or just in general. These are things that I have accumulated throughout my years of learning all this stuff, and I have realized that these are some really optimal ways of living. And don't believe that you have to do everything right now, right away. It's not an absolute type thing. It's not an overnight type thing. It wasn't for me, and I'm sure it's not like that for anybody. So I'm going to get to the list of things that I believe that are needed to be eliminated from lifestyle, and things that are going to be added. And then I'm going to try to give as many reasons why to do so. So, first thing I believe is animal products. And a lot of people are going to argue that we're meant to eat animal products because that is what is here for us as food consumption, but the bulk of scientific literature speaks otherwise, and many, many doctors also agree, and many medical studies, peer-reviewed studies, also agree to a lot of this as well. And that's just pretty much what I'm doing, is sharing what I've learned. And if you have any arguments or anything to add to it, please let me know. I am all for learning. So animal products, why? What does it include? Animal products are anything that's meat, eggs, dairy, cheese, poultry, fish, anything that comes from an animal. Anything at all. Eggs, dairy, cheese, milk. But why not eat animal products? So, they cause an excess of animal proteins, which is problematic. They cause an excess of IGF-1, which is an insulin-like growth hormone. Growth factor 1 is what that stands for. There's an excess of casein that can come from cheese and dairy products such as milk and casein. There's some studies done by Dr. T. Colin Campbell in the China study, and a whole bunch of other things on the casein, and it promotes cancer. It turns cancer on and off if you have it, and if you have it in larger percentages, it's even worse. It's also excesses of carnitine, lecithin, excesses in saturated fats, excesses in dietary cholesterol, excesses in endotoxins, which if you look at animal products, an endotoxin is pretty much on all animal products. It's just part of it. And then you have stuff like, stuff that's on chicken. Have salmonella, and you have all these other things that are in beef and these things that are in pork. So I would, if you're going to eliminate animal products, I would just say do that right off the bat all together. If you don't want to give up one thing right now because you just are unsure, start eliminating the red meats, the pork, the bacon, the stuff that's high in hormones, high in salts. Processed meat is deemed carcinogenic by the World Health Organization. You don't want these toxins in your body, especially if you're trying to fast and get those toxins out. Not only that, animal products are more caloric dense than whole plant food. So you're getting higher calories for a smaller amount of food. So there's some really good reasons why not to ingest animal products. Next thing, I would say get rid of all oils. Even olive oil, even coconut oil, they are still just condensed calories. There's 120 calories per spoonful, and you don't need those excess calories. You don't need the extra fats in the blood clogging up cells. Check out a video by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, which is a very well-known cardiologist, heart doctor. Wrote a book called How to Reverse and Prevent Heart Disease, or Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, however that goes. And he has a video on YouTube called No Oil. And he talks about some medical studies and some letters written about how zero oil is absolutely best because medical studies show that oil is just not good for the cardiovascular system or overall health whatsoever, and definitely not good for weight loss, even if you're on a ketogenic diet. And we can get more into that in another video. Another thing, get rid of processed foods. Absolutely. If you have anything that's been processed, put through a blender, flours, sugars, minerals that have been powdered up, like salts, you really don't need added salts. There's enough sodium in whole plant foods to provide all the sodium, magnesium, potassium, all of these electrolytes and minerals that you need. And if you do start eliminating these things, just start lessening them down. At least don't have excess salts, but don't have processed sugar. If you're going to have flours, do it sparingly. Have it in a rare occasion. If you're going to have flours, do it once or twice a month, if that. Just have it as a rare treat. Another thing you need to eliminate is obviously drugs, chemicals, cigarettes, alcohol, caffeine. I know a lot of people are gonna, crucify me on that one, but caffeine is a neurotoxin. It's a diuretic. It's an addictive stimulant. Of course, everyone knows that these things are not good for us, and especially while you're fasting. If you're gonna water fast, just do only water. I can't stress that enough. You don't need anything else. One thing else, you really just need to just start eliminating dietary excesses. Anything that is in excess that has a dangerous outcome, eliminate it or lessen it. Stop having, if you're going to eliminate animal products, do it where you're only having animal products starting off 4 days a week versus 7, 3 times a day. They say, well, bacon's okay to have on a ketogenic diet, but is it okay for your body to have bacon and sausage and all these things 7 days a week, 3 times a day? There are going to be negative effects of these dietary excesses. And it's very important you understand that. I believe. And these are the things that I've learned. So if you have any opinions, please share with me. I love to hear, and I love to learn, and I love to share my knowledge about all these individual things. Start eliminating being sedentary. Stop just sitting around all day in the dark. Stop sitting around and watching TV all day. Stop being on your phones all day. These things are just as dangerous. Eliminate excuses. All right? So, well, I just don't know if I can give up this or that. I just don't think I can give up my meats. I'm unsure. People don't want to hear bad things about their bad habits. People want to hear good things about their bad habits. So whenever they see something like a certain diet that includes bacon and caffeine and butter and all these things, of course you're going to want to hear it. And some people refuse to learn any other way, because I was the same way for many, many years. Now, I will say that if you're going to start eliminating these things, just start doing it one at a time. Like, for me, whenever I started my journey of losing weight, when I was 500 pounds and lost 300. I knew I had to start changing everything about my life. So first it was cigarettes. Next thing, I would eliminate caffeine. And then I eliminated alcohol. And these three things were just like, okay, those are out. And then I was working on getting out the processed junks, but not fully. It was still a work in progress. But then I realized this way of eating, the plant-based way of eating, then I started eliminating animal products. And that was after a fast. So I learned that I needed to cleanse my system, and then I eliminated animal products and oils. Now, animal products were just gone almost overnight after my 10-day water fast a few years ago, because I learned all the unhealthy things about them. And for me, it was just all animal products. I just knew I didn't want that in my life anymore, and it helped tremendously with so many things. And then I gave up oils, immediately after, and I would have like maybe a drop here, a drop there, because I just didn't know how to saute stuff, and it was just hard to give up those better flavors. But then I was just, of course, I learned more about cardiovascular systems and all the effects on that, so I gave up oils. Then it was a work on processed foods. I kind of gave up processed sugar. That was a big thing. But the processed flours like pasta and breads and processed rice and smoothies is still processed, but don't think that's too awful. But it's just a progression. And one of the last things that I really struggled with before just recently was I started having caffeine again, and then the salts were really heavy, so I retained so much water, and with all these empty fat cells, I would retain 10, 20, 30 pounds of water weight just because I had so much excess salts in me, and that was awful, especially for my running. Why would I want to run with an extra 20, 30 pounds on me? So I would go on these bouts of salt-free weeks, and I would lose 20 pounds like that, and so I would try to eliminate the salts. And then it was just exercising more, eliminating all the sedentary stuff. But one thing that you really need to understand about eliminating is convenience. It is probably the most dangerous drug out there. So if you go on a new way of living and you say, well, this is just convenient to have a protein powder or a protein bar, or a drive-through has this or that, but it might not be optimal for your health. So if need be, try to take the less convenient route, but in a healthy way of living does not have to be inconvenient. You can eat an apple, you can eat a banana, you can microwave a potato and take it with you, you can pre-make your food. It doesn't have to be such a job, especially once you get it down. So things to add to your lifestyle. Obviously, I'm going to say plant foods is number one. Just increase your amount of plant foods. Your plant foods need to be a variety, all of them, right? Especially the greens. I'm going to go over a couple of things, but things that you need to really focus on when you want to eat plant foods is stop focusing on pleasure. So eliminate the thoughts of being excessively pleasured by food. These things are going to stimulate neurotransmitters the same way drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and other things do. So understand that you might need to eliminate the need for such high levels of neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all these things. So your plant foods need to be calorically less dense, okay, which is all plant foods pretty much. They need to be nutrient dense. The highest ones in nutrients are going to be better for you. They need to be fiber rich, because these things are going to help cleanse you. They're going to help make you lose weight. They're going to help make you function properly. They're going to give you better energy. Things you need to focus on are foods that may be really good for nitric oxide production, which I'll get into that in just a second, but high antioxidant foods, high anti-cancerous property foods, the beets, greens, all those things are good. But one thing about nitric oxide, what that does is that it's released from your endothelial cells in your arteries, and it expands your bloodways, right? So it's going to create so much more everything for you if your blood flow is better, because it's basically the river of life, right? So one thing that's interesting, this is just a tidbit of information, but if you take something like greens, You know, spinach, kale, arugula. Well, arugula is one of the highest nitrate foods, which is going to be, you know, very good for nitric oxide production, nitric oxide. But greens have L-arginine in them, okay, as well as nitrates. Watermelon, it has an amino acid called L-citrulline, or citrulline. And stuff like vinegar has acetic acid. Now, when you have these three things help make nitric oxide in the system. That's going to be really good for blood flow. All right, so it's going to be good for athletics. It's going to be good for overall health, sexual function, erectile dysfunction. So it's a huge boost in all of that. One thing that a Dr. Joel Fuhrman talks about are G-bombs, things that you really need to include in your lifestyle. And G-bomb stands for greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. So try to remember that. Another doctor, Dr. Michael Greger, he has the Daily Dozen. And you can go look up that at nutritionfacts.org. He's the founder of that. He also wrote a bunch of books. I'm reading one of his books called How Not to Die right now. And he talks about the Daily Dozen things that you need in your daily life. Clean water. That's a given. You have to have pure, clean water in your life. Water fasting, add that to your life. You know, fast to get all the junk out, and then fast periodically throughout, you know, once or twice a year for maintenance, for environmental toxins and toxins through pesticides or whatever you may be accumulating through your body. Exercise. Add exercise to your body. It's not just to burn calories. All these, you know, none of this stuff I'm talking about is just for calorie burning. That's the smallest amount of thing that most people really don't even need to worry about. When you eat whole plant-based foods, you don't even really have to count calories because the food is so calorically less dense, your body is regulated through all these things. So if you eat whole potatoes or whole fruit, well, in that package of food, you have the natural water content, the natural vitamin, mineral content, the natural calorie content, and these things will naturally stretch your stomach to a satiety level. They will make your nutrient receptors active. You know, they will reach the point to where satiation is achieved naturally through whole food because that whole food is a whole package. If you process it and take out the water, take out the fiber, of course you're going to overeat it. If you add stimulating things like salts, oils, or sugars, you're going to overeat it because it's more pleasurable. So just eat whole plants is the optimal way of doing things. And again, your level is going to be up to you and how bad you want to reach your level of health or weight or whatever your goals are with optimal lifestyles, okay, or eliminating or adding to your life. So baby steps in all facets of what you're trying to do. So exercise, not only is it good for burning calories, but it's good to get your cardiovascular system going, your circulation going, getting your heart rate up. Increases VO2 max. It increases your oxygen in your blood. It is an immune boosting thing. I mean, there's so many benefits, it's ridiculous. But one thing that most people might not realize, your heart is the mechanism that pumps the cardiovascular system. Well, we also have another system called the lymphatic system, right? Well, does anybody know what the lymphatic system even does? It's like your cleansing system, right? So it's you need to think of the mechanism that pumps the lymphatic system is movement. Your body literally pumps lymph nodes in your body all over the place, in your stomach, behind your legs, in your elbows, under your arms, all over the place you have these lymph nodes. These are like little filters for your body. They filter the whole body. The more you move, the cleaning actions happen. So movement is cleaning. So sometimes you can look at exercise like doing the dishes or taking a shower. You're just cleaning. But you're also doing a whole bunch of other benefits too. Getting more oxygen, building the lungs, building the heart, building the circulation. So exercise is a must. Another thing to add is just fresh air. Being outside, in nature. Look at that. Ain't that just, I mean, gotta get outside, guys. Fresh air is beyond good for you. Getting CO2 out, oxygen in, it's the key to life, I tell you. Meditation, good breathing through meditation is good for the mind, good for clarity. Get more sunshine. Add sunshine to your life. There's there's vitamins and stuff that get added to your body. There's nutrients from the sun. There's so many benefits from the sun. Music, add music to your life. There's studies done that shows amazing benefits from music. If you just look at people who have Alzheimer's or mental disorders or any of that stuff, it boosts so many things. Last but not least, I'm going to say add is love and people around you. There's studies done on if you are in proximity of people, your energies change, your biochemistry changes. Love yourself, have a positive mindset about the world through loving and understanding it all and knowing that everything is going to be okay because it's a beautiful world. And I think these things just will change your life. If you add those, eliminate the other things, it is beyond beneficial for everyone's life. And if you do the water fasting to accelerate these detoxes of those needless eliminating things, then you start remodeling the body with these added things, all of your problems can go away. At least that's what I've found. I know there's a lot of things that might not be fixed overnight, and some people might not be patient to go through these steps of eliminating and adding. But I'm telling you guys, if you just get there and make the steps and do the work and learn about it and why and rewatch these videos and learn what I've learned. Another thing I missed about animal products is that there can be nutrient-dense foods like liver. And some people can argue fish have omega-3s. I'm going to say you don't need the animal proteins in those. You don't need the added cholesterol and fats from them either. Granted, liver has a lot of nutrients, so if you're going to have animal products every once in a while, eat liver. Have a piece of fish a few times a year. I don't advocate it for many reasons. There's no reason to hit yourself with a smaller hammer. If you have bacon and sausage 7 days a week, well, that's a big hammer. But having, liver here and there, well, there's no need to add anything that causes any excesses. But that's your personal choice. I'm going to go over real quick because we have a lot of time accumulated on this video, and I don't want to make all these videos too long because people just won't watch them. But I think this one's a really, really useful, beneficial one for a lot of people. Okay, some doctors that I follow. I try to follow doctors from all sides. And this is a request from everyone watching. If you know any doctors that I'm not mentioning, which I know a whole bunch more that I didn't even list, but if you have any doctors on the keto side of things, the plant-based way of things, the fruitarian way of things, any other way of things, and you think their information is very beneficial, bring it to my attention, comment, go to the Facebook water fasting group on Facebook. Again, that's water fasting. Fasting is in all caps. Put information there. I'm willing to learn. I'm open to all ways of learning, and I want to share these ways of learning with as many people as I can because a lot of people are needlessly sick, and I'm tired of it, and that's why I'm doing all this. So the doctors that I have followed in the past and recently, here's some ketogenic doctors. There's obviously Dr. Atkins, which I was buying his books at like age 12 and 13. Dr. Eads, his wife Mary Eads, both of those doctors are a low-carb doctors. Dr. Eric Berg, he's all over YouTube. I've contacted him. He's gotten back to me a couple of times. Dr. Jason Fung, I try to contact him, but I'm sure he's busy. He hasn't got back to me. Dr. Eric Westman, Dr. Mercola, Dr. Jeff Volek, Dr. Schmidt, all these guys you can look up and learn about their teachings on the ketogenic way of eating. I've studied a whole bunch from many of them, and there's a lot more. I just don't think their science adds up, and their reasonings aren't as beneficial as these other doctors. And I'm going to list those real quick. One thing, there's a Dr. Lim, Dr. L-I-M. He used to be a ketogenic doctor. He kind of realized a bunch of things, and he swapped over to promote a plant-based way of eating. So that's really interesting also. There's a lot of other doctors who are swapping over too because they have found more benefits to a plant-based way of eating. And again, this isn't just a battle between plant-based versus keto. I think both of them can be done in an optimal way. But if you have any more information on any of these lifestyles, here's a list of doctors that you can research and go watch seminars. I watched hours and hours of each one of these doctors. So I've read texts from a lot of these doctors. I have talked to these doctors, some of them. Some of them I believe I would like to call friends, a few of them anyway. So look up Dr. Alan Goldhamer. Of course, he's a water fasting doctor. He's the director at True North Health Center in California. He also promotes a SOS-free, salt, oil, sugar-free, whole foods, plant-based way of eating with his patients after fasting. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Joel Furman, another fasting doctor and author, Dr. Neil Bernard, Dr. Michael Claper, Dr. Garth Davis, Dr. John McDougall. Check him out. He wrote the Starch Solution, very big doctor in this plant-based way of eating. Dr. Dean Ornish, he was a medical doctor for President Clinton when he had his heart disease. I think Dr. Esselstyn was also consulted in that as well. Dr. Joel Kahn, Dr. Lori Marbus, she interviewed me for a podcast. She's an amazing person. Dr. Jamie Delaney, she also interviewed me for a podcast. Howard Jacobson, PhD, he is also an author, co-wrote a book called Whole with T. Colin Campbell, which is a huge author who wrote the China study. Love that guy. We've ran together multiple times. Very cool guy. Dr. Brooke Goldner, I talked to her on the phone just a couple weeks ago about some disease issues for a water fasting member. She has been on a few documentaries, wrote a book called Goodbye Lupus. Check her out. There's a dietitian called Jeff Novick. He has a video on YouTube about caloric density. Check that video out. It's really amazing, especially for weight loss. And another doctor is Dr. Douglas Graham, who promotes a fruitarian way of eating, which he wrote a book called 80-10-10. I just ordered that book on Amazon. I also ordered another book on Amazon by T. Colin Campbell and Howard Jacobson, which is Whole. And I plan on reading both of those very soon after I finish Dr. Michael Greger's book. Again, rewatch this video, look up those doctors, research all the stuff I've listed. I hope you guys learned something on this video. I know it's lengthy, but if you want to make changes, you need to take the time and learn. Again, guys, get outside, make changes, love yourself, love the world, embrace the journey. Love y'all. Bye.